this is my orchard project. It is 6,500, 7,000 square feet, something like that. It's a really big project. I've been working on it on and off, so now I'm about to get serious with it. I'm going to walk you through what I have and where things are going. So this is a nectarine tree, and this guy here is a Barbados cherry tree.
And that is a mango tree.
Thanks, buddy. That's actually a banana tree, but great guess. These four right here are starfruit. Back there is a place where I was intending to put tomatoes. We've had them in the past and they've done really well. This is another cherry tree. Let's see, this guy here, and then this one over here, those are apple trees. And a lot of these littler trees we actually planted from seeds of fruit that we ate. So we'll see how those blossom or not. Here's a lemon tree. I think I walked right by the nectarine tree. There's the nectarine, I may have said that. I'm not really sure what this is. We'll see if it comes back. There's another banana tree, an orange tree. Down here I have some mango trees and an avocado tree. And then over here I've got some more mango trees and avocado trees. Fresh mulch, which was just delivered today, and I'm super excited about it. We're gonna mulch the ground. Over here we have our burn pit, which will be going away. And this area actually may either become an experimental area for my plants that I have in little planters, which you'll see, or it could be for a koi pond or something else. But we're trying to keep this area over here fairly flat because this is the view from the house, so we want to still be able to see the lake. And here we have some baby pineapple. And they're overgrown with weeds, which I don't know enough to say that this is necessarily bad, because I think the weeds are actually bringing in some pollinators and maybe helping with the soil.
There's a pineapple.
Hey, great find! Then over here, we have some more mature pineapples who are just starting to bloom. And these were all planted from pineapples that we actually ate. Back in here, I have a raised planter. I'm not sure what we're going to do with it yet, but something for sure.
Baby pineapple.
Great find. Thanks, pal. And so this is the orchard from the beginning. This is it. Oh, and there's my compost bin. I've never been able to get it to work, but I'm really hopeful to either use that or in the banana trees. We're gonna have 3 banana circles with multiple bananas, trees, and other plants in there, because bananas are really communal plants, and so they want to be with other plants, and they do better when they're kind of in a village with other plants. So they also do pretty well, from what I hear, with compost pits in the middle. So we may do that as well. Over here I had, at one point, bell peppers. And over here along the fence next to where I had the tomatoes, I also had some basil and mint. You can see my dog loves running through the orchard, and her path is about to change. But for now, here's where we are, and here's what it is. And thanks for joining me on this journey. Hey, Shale, which tree is this?
The avocado tree.
That's awesome. Great identification. And what do you like about this tree?
Oh, it has the most leaves.
It has the most leaves. Is this one of your favorite trees?
Mm-hmm.
Let's back up a minute, because the food forest idea was completely new to me just a couple of weeks ago. So it all started because I decided that I wanted to get serious about the orchard and make it really incredible. So I started by joining a few Facebook groups and doing a lot of research. And one of the first things that I learned is that there are different zones based on the climate, and I live in zone 9, specifically 9B. So I started looking for plants that would thrive in zone 9. And if it was kind of on the maybe not, I would get more specific and see if it would live in zone 9B. And that really helped me narrow down my search. I knew that I wanted low maintenance plants. I'm not one to go out and weed. I'm not one to spend a ton of time caring for them. I enjoy plants, but I didn't want something that would take hours of my time every week. And so I made a spreadsheet, which is what you see now, and I started looking at the soil care, and I noted if it was intensive or just simply fertilizing the soil every few months, because I figured I could at least do that. Then I added a column for how much time the plant would require between pruning, watering, and whatever else it may need. My next column indicated if the plant liked sandy dirt, because that's what I have. And of course that was followed by full sun, hardiness, zone, fertilization information, I included this as a reference for later. I figure as long as I'm doing the research, I should at least write it down so I don't have to look it up again later. Next, I wrote how much space each plant needs between the particular plant and its neighbor. Some plants want 6 inches, some plants want 1.5 feet. So I wrote that down. That I figured would help me figure out how many plants I could fit into a specific area and where they should go as well. I also learned that plants have different variations, such as apples. There are a bunch of different types of apples, and I knew I wanted cinnamon apples, Arkansas black apples, and a few others, so I wrote those in the variation column. For plants like blueberries, I'm not that picky, although I might note that it's a good idea to have a mix of variations just for pollination. I also might note that some blueberries, if I actually really want to get into blueberries to try, some good ones are Dixie Sweetheart, Jewel, Windsor, Powder Blue, and DeSoto. And if you want a pink blueberry, Sunshine Blue and Pink Lemonade are outstanding. At least that's what the research told me. I added a column for specific care tips, again for later reference. Next, I wrote down the soil pH, and at this point I ordered a pH meter because everything was coming in, well, almost everything, between 6 and 7, and I realized I have no idea what the pH of my soil is. So when my pH meter came in, I took pH readings from different parts of the yard, and it was almost all identical. And I was thinking maybe the pH meter didn't work, although I stuck it in a lime, and it works. I guess that's good that it works. My soil's almost an 8, and I still don't know how to drop it to a 7, or 6.5 even. But that's okay, because we're getting there. I realized I wanted mostly perennials. I don't want to have to plant and replant every year, so I added a column for this. It was early March when I started the project, and I started researching, and people in my Facebook group said that it's too late to get started since it's already getting quite warm outside. And according to a nursery that I went to a few years ago, who actually planted the mature trees that I have now, they said that you can plant here almost year-round, aside from in winter, so while that may be true, I believe there are certain times that are better than others for planting. So I added 2 columns to help me track when each plant should be planted and harvested. So some cells say that it's seasonal, some cells say by month, but I was getting a lot of really solid information that could be used for solid guidelines of what to plant first and when to harvest everything so I don't have to go out and check it constantly. I want to give a shout out to my friend Melissa. She has a beautiful garden of edible plants, and she mentioned one day that banana trees are communal, and they actually do better when they have companions nearby. I added a column for companion plants, or plants that are compatible with the primary plant. So who likes to be planted near bananas, for example, near banana trees? So it's a symbiotic system where they're good for the banana trees, and the banana trees are good for them. This was such a cool idea to me, I just sort of stored it in the back of my mind. So once I had finished a lot of research, I started diagramming what I thought I wanted, and in some cases what I thought I needed, like raised beds. And I continued to research, and I began to learn that what I want to do is a huge undertaking, and it's going to be so time intensive. It's going to require way more than the 1 to 2 hours that I have each day to devote to it. So I decided to put the planting on hold for next year and to just focus on building the planters and getting set up this year. I thought that was a solid idea. It seems like a plan. It's very doable. It's not ideal. I'd like to have it planted sooner, but realistically, that seemed like a pretty good plan. Wanting to learn from people with both expertise and experience, I started posting more in my Facebook groups. It turns out that Melissa, that same Melissa I just mentioned a minute ago, she's actually in one of those Facebook groups. And so while she hadn't posted anything, she reached out to me directly one evening, and she said that if it fits my budget, I might want to consider creating a food forest. I'd never heard of a food forest, although I was super interested. In fact, that night I was just buzzing on excitement for my garden as what it is, what it could be. I was up most of the night researching food forests, gardens, plants, you name it. And I knew that I didn't know how living on a lake might impact my plants. So I also knew that I don't know the best kind of soil. I usually use potting soil, but I certainly can't cover 7,000 square feet in potting soil. That would be incredibly cost prohibitive. So I don't know how to create the best kind of soil or how to lower my overall pH by a full point. There's so much more that I don't know than what I do that I decided I wanted hands-on help. I don't mind building, I don't mind planting. Actually, I quite enjoy building and planting, and I'm looking forward to it. Although I want guidance about what to plant, where to plant it, how to care for it. And again, with my limited time, I really wanted a few extra hands to help speed up the process. So the next morning, after breakfast, I reached out to Food Forest Abundance. Owner Jim and their owner Ian came out and walked the area with me, and we talked about our vision. And from there, they drew up a diagram. I'd given them mine, and they rendered theirs. And we, after a couple conversations of going back and forth to a point where we were all happy with it, they'd rendered it. The first load of mulch was delivered. The team brought over a few plants, which I've been watering daily, and they marked the area for the walking path. Having all this open space. After this week, it'll never look like this again. My team's come out and they've laid a path for us just to kind of see where everything's going to be going. It matches pretty well with the overlay. And this way we can really kind of get a feel for it before we put the plants and everything in. So some of these trees that you see, especially these 4 little starfruit trees, they're going to be moved. I think the banana's going to stay there, but we're putting in some more bananas around it to make a banana circle. I can't recall if this cherry tree is going to stay or not, but this apple and then this apple, pretty sure they're going to be moved. The puppy's going to have to figure out a new place to go. We wind around here, and we're going to come out around the nectarine tree, and really, I can't recall what's going to be where. I think we go around, and like these little pots that we've made with the metal surrounds, we're going to use the metal surrounds to sort of surround the pathway instead of having all these little metals. Somewhere around here there's going to be an island, which will be really neat. So there's this whole outer area, and then there's going to be a nice little inside area with yet another banana circle. And oh, this is super cool. As we're walking, look at all these little baby mangoes.
Oh, baby! Yeah.
Baby mangoes. This is my baby. So we keep on going around the path, and there's a really sharp turn up here. So I think right here, I think we actually might make this more of a swooping turn instead of so sharp. And we come out here, way out here, and comes in right around here. And then we stop at the house. So it'll never look like this again. And as much as I love this, I'm really excited to see the future of this area.